So, before I invite Vinay Agarwal, expert of the today knowledge sharing program, I have pleasure to share his brief profile with you. So you can just see on your screen. So Vinay is having very unique kind of blend. He is a technocrat and as well as management expert. He is a graduate from IIT Kanpur and graduate from IIM Calcutta. And besides holding this top level of the academic and professional qualification, he has equally very good professional experience working with topmost business organization of our country at very senior level. And after leaving the full-fledged position with the business organization, now he is for last 8 years, he's running his own consulting company, and he has been instrumental to turning around the financial position of many companies through his various models, through his various techniques. So over to you, Vijay. Over to you, Vinay.
Thank you, Pankaj. Thank you for that wonderful introduction and the tone setting right in the beginning. Good evening, participants. Welcome to this webinar on surviving, reviving, and growing after the lockdown. Whatever the future holds, one thing is quite clear, I think, to you and to me and to everybody, that the world economy and the Indian economy has been badly battered. And that is quite a challenging thing for business. In this webinar, I want to give you my vision, my insight of what you can do for the coming times. But before I tell you my thoughts, I want to know what is in your mind. Sorry about that, folks. Sorry about that glitch. So as I was saying, I want to give you my vision, my insight, and so on. But before I get into that, can you please let me know what are the challenges which you are facing as business people? It will help me address the whole thing better. Could you please type in your chat box? Cash flow management. Okay. No sales. Severe cash crunch. Go ahead, please. Give me cash crunch. Can't collect my receivables. Low cash inflows. Outflow same or more. No income, only expenses. Yeah, go ahead. Customer development. Yeah, business development. Yes. We will address all these issues, both these issues. Cost control. Cash flow, business expenses, pessimistic environment. Yes, sales uncertainty. This is what we are here for. Okay. Can you also tell me a little bit about what will be your biggest issue in reviving the operations? Cash flow is a problem. Any other problem? Safety concerns, labor shortage, yes? Labor shortage, wonderful. Okay, I got an idea. Uncertainty of revenue and cash is the two biggest thing everybody's talking about. So let me move on from there. Tell me a bit about yourself also, please, so that I get an idea. Are you a business owner or CEO or a professional or corporate? Just for brief, just say B, P, or E. Business owner, a professional means a chartered accountant, management accountant, consultant, or a company executive. BCE, BPE. Just give it to me, please. Just put it in the chat box, please. Okay. A lot of people, both businessmen and professionals. Great. Wonderful. What business are you in? Where are you located? business and location. Pune, New Delhi, okay, plywood, Delhi NCR, manufacturing, services, Noida, IT, Noida, manufacturing, Noida. Okay, so as you can see, we have a mixed hotels, Rajasthan, consultancy, manufacturing, Gurgaon, NCR, financial advisory, Kerala. Welcome, Rajni from Kerala. So as you can see, people across the spectrum are worried about what's happening and want to know what to do. So let me just share with you that whatever happens, the life will definitely change. Now let us look at this. Can you see this? These are some of the scenes from daily life, and each one of these looks absolutely different. There is going to be a corona fueled living. How long it will last? 1 year, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, we don't know. But for sure, there is going to be a change. You see, sanitization, the way we know it's not going to happen, service counters, shopping, meeting, flying. Many of us fly, dining out, and so on and so forth. Everything is going to change. And when everything is changing and everything gets cautious, what do you think people are going to do? Their spending is also going to become cautious. How many of us think, oh, let us just let that thing go? I've been going to the doctor every month or two when he calls me. And ever since, it's a normal routine kind of a medication, a routine thing, he calls me. I've been saying, boss, let us not go today. Okay, maybe we'll go next month. Why go to the hospital when you don't really, really need to? So there'll be lots of such decisions. But when those decisions happen, what will it do for our businesses? Just saying, it's when I don't go to the hospital, the doctor doesn't get his fee, the hospital doesn't get its portion of the OPD charges, the tests which I'm supposed to do don't happen, and all the services behind that, they don't happen. So there is a challenge which is going to happen. Let's look at from a business context. What will happen to corona fueled businesses? Anybody? What do you think will happen to corona fueled businesses? Yeah, I saw people from Dubai. Oh wow, Umesh from Dubai. Jamshedpur, Pooja Agarwal. Raja from real estate sector. Devanish, Devanshi, an advocate. Okay. Tell me, what do you think will happen to corona fueled businesses? Low productivity. Okay. Let me share this. You know, with this big dhakka or this big, bashing we are getting on the head, I see that there are three things which could happen to businesses. Look at business A. I call it sputtering. Okay. You start, let's say, with 100 in June, which will already be much lower than what it was in February. And then you go a little bit up, little bit down, little bit up and down all the way to March. Some people will start in June, business B, which will not recover at all. It will just go down, 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 and one day it will going to wind up. Business A, what I call the shooting star. Initially, the business was all gung-ho, it's got some cash, it will give some credit, it will do all kinds of things, reduce prices, and it will shoot up. And then all the real stuff will catch up. And then once it catches up, it will go down. These are all three very negative scenarios. This is a recipe for disaster. Is there any other way? Is there an alternative? We are here to discuss that alternative. If you are in business A, business B, or business C profile, I think you need to start thinking what will be the alternative. Let me show you. The alternative is business D, where you can, as you see, it starts off slow with the same 100, slowly survives, then revives, and then goes on to a growth path. It may look very difficult today, but it can happen, it will happen. Now, I really expect that, a lot of businesses will go the business A, B, and C way. Maybe 20, maybe 30% of businesses will actually fold up. So I urge you that please look at being a business D and do not go into business A, B, or C lines, which is a recipe for folding up. In this seminar, I'm going to tell you precisely that how to survive, revive, and grow. Now that we will be spending 1.5 hours together, do I have your permission to tell you a little bit about myself? Very briefly, but to the point of this revival story. Come on, guys, give me the permission. Do I have the permission? Yes, it is required. Okay, sure. People will not be able to pay rent. Okay, this is a different thing. Yes, please go ahead, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes. Okay. Nobody's saying no, so let me do that. Thank you. This year, first of all, I am celebrating the 44th anniversary of my 20th birthday. I feel 20, I think like 20, but I'm 64. Next, in my life and let me also tell you that on 2nd of June, I will be finishing 40 years of my working career. I joined Bloplast Limited in Mumbai as a young management trainee on 2nd of June, 1980. In this journey of 40 years, 3 words have been extremely important for me. First is profit. Second is growth. And third is transformation. You cannot have large profit, large growth without significantly going on transforming. It's a constant race. Business is a constant race. And because of these 3 important words, I called my firm, when I started consulting 9 years back, I called it PGT Partners. Let me give you one slide on how PGT has affected my life over the period. PGT in my life. I bought into a startup at 26. I didn't start it. It was already 1 year old. But at 1 year old, it was completely bankrupt. In 4 years, we could manage to turn it around into a highly profitable, a zero debt business, and a market leader in our market. Then at 37, I became a young CEO in the Shriram Group. The company which I was given was a dud. It was also practically bankrupt. The EBITDA was negative. The loans, can you believe it, were 125% of sales. So if your sale is, let's say, 40 crores, your loans are 50 crores. And you have a negative EBITDA. From that, in 2 years, we could triple our sales, 3 times the sales. In 3 years, the negative EBITDA not only became positive, but we got a PBT of 16% of sales. And then within 5 years, we were a BIFR company. We were a listed company. We were a BIFR company. And when we went to BIFR to say, please delist us, can you believe they did not have a procedure for delisting any company? Nobody had come to them, turned around and come to them for delisting. So they invented a procedure and delisted us. We repaid all our loans. And then we went on an expansion path with fresh loans. At 55, I said, I've had enough of the corporate sector. I had run many companies, which you saw in my bio presented by Jayant Saab. And then I said, okay, let me share this knowledge. Let me bring it to different companies. So we helped transform a number of businesses during this period. I'm just giving you a short list, which give you different ideas from different types of interventions. Hand tool manufacturer. They had been growing at 7% per year for the last 5 years. So they had grown. But the problem was that they said, oh, my competitors are growing at 20% plus, and I'm getting marginalized. In the very first year, we helped them to grow by 30% in sales. Transformer manufacturer, making large capacity transformers, specific made to order transformers. They used to deliver transformers in 3 months to 8 months, but they were never sure when they can deliver. The average time was 6 months or 26 weeks. After 6 months of working with them, actually a little bit less than that, their 100% deliveries were in 5 weeks. They could guarantee. Today we said, okay, let's go ahead and make this transformer. In 5 weeks, we'll have a ready transformer, call the customers for inspection. A cold rolled steel manufacturer, large company, this is about 600 crores in size. Their issue was on time and full deliveries. You see, they were supplying these cold rolled steels to auto parts maker, who in turn were supplying to Maruti, Hero Honda, and so on. And as you know, if one part is missing, you can't make the car or the scooter. So their component manufacturers want their steel also on time. But it was not happening. Because of that, the company always faced big uncertainty in orders. They were never sure, and the profit would yo-yo up and down. In just a short time, their on time in full deliveries were only 10%, and we could take them to 90% plus. This helped them immensely in growing their sales. So this is the brief. This is what we are going to discuss. PGT. Okay, how you can apply these techniques. How many of you would like to see similar results in your business? Give me a high five. Yes or no? You want similar results in your business? Yes or no? Yes, Ritesh. Yes, yes. Yes, Atul. Yes. Yes, Niklesh. Yes. Manoj. Yes. Wonderful, wonderful. Get Samir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That gives me energy to carry forward this presentation beyond this. Now, what we're going to discuss is what is the PGT. All this knowledge I've compressed into something called the PGT engine. Okay, the Profit Growth Transformation Engine. Step one. You know, we are going to, as we go along, we are going to fill up all these boxes which you see on the screen, at least the blue boxes, all the blue boxes. Okay, it's a 5-step process. Be with me and explore. Step one is the fountainhead. What is a starting point? Where do we start? Right? Everything, every good thing has to start somewhere. A long journey starts with the first step. So, I want to know, who is the one driving your business? Who drives your business? Who is the key person driving your business? Tell me in the chat. Everybody silent. You know who drives your business? Go ahead. Customer. Okay, customer. Yeah, customer is outside. Customer is somebody we tell. MD. We the owners. Self. Yes. Yes. You see, in every business, if the business is at level X and goes up to level Y, then what do you think? Who is the one responsible? The leader of the business. The leader of the business, and he rallies his troops, he rallies his resources, he figures out what is to be sold to customers, what is the price, when is it going to be delivered. He is the pin. He is the fulcrum. He doesn't do everything, but he's the fulcrum. He's the main driver. The whole car moves, the passengers also move, everything moves along with, but he's in the driving seat. You, who are the business owner, are driving your business. And the important thing is, what is driving you? You're driving the business. Your beliefs are driving you. If you believe in quality, your company is sure to produce good quality products. If you believe in customer service, your company is bound to be a high service company, and so on and so forth. If you are confident, your company will go confidently into the market. If you keep saying, "Arey boss, pata nahi, wo problem hai, wo policy hai, wo sarkar ne aisa kar diya, aise hoga." I was talking to once a business friend who runs about a 10 crore business, largely exports. And when I started talking to him, I said, "Bhai sahab, aap bataiye," sorry, I'm switching to Hindi for a moment. "Bhai sahab, aap bataiye ki kya matlab agar aapko 10 crore se 2 saal mein 20 crore jana ho, to kya karna hoga?" ये हो ही नहीं सकता, हो ही नहीं सकता. मैंने कहा नहीं, फिर भी तो कोई तो तरीका होगा आपकी इंडस्ट्री में, which is the largest company in your industry. Well, largest company is about 300 crores. Then I said, what? You saying नहीं हो सकता? At least attempt 20 crores or 30 crores. नहीं हो सकता. You don't know the problems. Then he went on and on. Then finally, he had nothing else to say. You know, my factory is in Bhiwadi. You know how bad the roads are out there. How can you work in this environment? Point is, if you have beliefs like this, I'm not beating the guy down. I'm just saying, if you have beliefs like this, the Lord saves your business. nothing is going to happen. But if you have the belief, yes, we can do it. Just like Jayan Sahab asked in the beginning, everybody said, I will. You say, I will. So guys, will you do it? Should I go ahead? I want to go ahead with people only who are willing to do it. Please type. Yes, 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 yes. Good, 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 good. So let's start this journey together, okay? So the first thing I said, believe in yourself. Your belief is going to drive everything. Mr. Guha, we can hear your, yeah. Second is believe in the future. Look, things are down, very badly down, and I'm going to just now show you how badly down they are. But you have to believe in the future. If you believe there is no future, trust me, there will be no future for you. This is a report from Goldman Sachs, which was released, I think, 2 days back for India. I've just indexed the figures that, let's say, to 2019-20, just as a simplification, say that every quarter the GDP was 100. What they are saying is that in the first quarter, they expect in April to June a GDP of 55, minus 45. The next quarter, 75, then 89, then on to 95. I want to spend a minute on the implications of this, because this is what is going to drive, the larger economy is going to drive all of us. There are many ways to look at it. One way is you total up and you will say, oh my God, there's going to be such a shrinkage in the economy. What will happen? That is one way to look upon it. The second way to look upon it is, oh, we are going to have a bad time. We're already having a bad time. We'll have a bad time. But boss, by March, my demand will have picked up to where it is almost close to last year's demand in the economy, in the whole economy. Can I take advantage of that? Sure. There's a third way also. Remember my original slide where I showed you business A, B, and C, and D. There will be many A's, B's, and C's who will fail. Maybe 20%, maybe 30%. Now think that against the demand of 95, last time when the demand was 100, the supply was also 100. But if against the demand of 95, the supply is only 70 or 75 or 80, what do you think? The guys who are remaining, those who can survive now, who can revive thereafter, will find a massive growth potential sitting in front of them. Yes, there will be out of 10 companies, 3 who will die, 7 who will revive. But the big market share will be taken up by 1 or 2 of those who do all the right things. And that's what we are going to show you in the PGT engine. Okay, let me move ahead from here. So at the middle of the engine, driving everything, around which everything revolves, is you. Step 2 is surviving. What I'm going to do is, because we are going to use a couple of financial terms, I'll just tell you they are slightly different. I'm going to show you a P&L, but they're slightly different from the way a normal P&L is cast. So net sales, then we cast something what we call purely variable cost, not semi-variable, but those which are 100% variable, like raw materials, purchases of stock in trade, packaging, freight outwards, commissions and discounts. And at the sales minus this variable cost, we call it throughput. We'll be keeping using this term throughput a few times, and the bottom term OE. OE is all your other expenses, fixed expenses, semi-variable, and so on, salaries, wages, power, fuel, etc., etc., etc. And then at the end, you have profit before tax, which is T minus OE. Let me show you a company which is precariously balanced. Okay, a lot of our companies we have discovered during the lockdown are precariously balanced. Every month, I sell 100 and collect 100. This is a company where the sales come, collection comes after month. Everything happens within the end. Beginning of the month you produce, and it's a simplification. Beginning of the month you produce, end of the month you get. So from the 100 rupees which you get, you are spending 50 rupees on your fixed expenses. So money which is available for purchasing the materials is only 50. And then with that 50, since your throughput is 50%, your raw material cost is 50%, you can buy material for sales of 100 and then you sell 100 and you collect 100 and you keep going on. Every month you spend 50 on OE, 50 on materials, produce 100, sell 100, collect 100. So this is a company which is balanced, but it is a precarious balance. It is किसी भी समय डावाडोल हो सकती. It can totter at any point of time. Let me show you how. Just 1 month, something happened. One big collection got left out. Okay, that month something happened to one machine you could not produce. Whatever, something. So as a result, you could only get 90 of money. So OE is fixed. Aapka fixed expense is very much there. You spend the 50. Now you have got only 40 bucks left for your raw materials. You can purchase only 80. The next month comes, you again spend 50 on OE. Now you can purchase only 30. You start getting into some cost cutting. Is bande ko fire this guy, do this. Doesn't work. A lot of fixed expenses are fixed because you cannot change them so fast. And as you see, in 4, 5, 6 months, the company is finished. Now, let me show you the impact of a small increase. If there's a small increase, if you have demand and there's a small increase, this is what will happen. Somewhere, okay, you got a lottery, you raise a little loan, okay, you got sold an order at a very good price, you got 10 rupees extra. Now your OE is still fixed 50. Money available purchase is 60. Your possible sales will be 120. Your OE now will be again 50, and so on. It will keep on going. And as you can see, at some point, if your company say capacity is 200 or whatever, it will hit that capacity and you will achieve your full capacity of 200 and then be at 200 till you expand. So this is the advantage of having cash in hand. You know, as somebody said, top line is vanity. Collar up, you know, collar up that, you know, I'm great. I did so much top line. You ask most CEOs, when we talk to companies at the start, they say, oh boss, we had so much of sales. We had so much of sales. Then you ask how much profit? Well, we don't know. But profit is is sanity. Top line is vanity. That is sanity. But cash is only reality. And these slides have showed you cash in hand is the only reality. Does this make sense? Come on, guys. Does this make sense? Give it to me. Does this make sense? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great. Now, this cash, if you saw in this company, we got this cash in the beginning. Now look at, let's say we have a company, okay, which is running a deficit like this company. Every month it is running a deficit of 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 like this company. Now, just look at this. Oops. Yeah. So every month we are falling short of 10 rupees. So promoter says, okay, let me get some money. I'll get something from the bank. I'll borrow from my friends. I'll do something. So out of 90, I got money. 50 I spent on OE, 40 was available. Then I topped it up with 10 of cash induction and I could again produce. But again, I had a loss, etc., etc. Now, what happens is that after some time, the moment you stop this drip feed of 10, 10, 10, 10 per month of cash, okay. Yes, Alok Agarwal is saying that it will remain hypothetical situation till you really get better inflows. Yes, Alok, I will address this. Just be a little patient for 10 minutes. You will get all these answers from me. Okay. So this is what I call drip feed. Drip feed doesn't work. Now look at this company where instead of giving 10, 10, 10 for 4 months and then stopping, you inducted 30 in one go in the first month. The figures are there for you to see. You spend on OE, you will have more money for materials. You will start off a positive spiral all over again. It is very important. I have seen large companies. I've seen a company more than 1,000 crores going down because of this reason, because we were trying to drip feed it. I have seen any number of businesses. Don't drip feed. You lose, you send your good money after bad. So whatever you need to do it now. So the step is called creating a cash pool. in all corona fueled economy, look at your business, look at your cash needs, and be generous with the cash. Don't be stingy. If your calculation is showing 20, think you'll need 25. Don't think somehow I'll manage with 17, because you'll get into the drip feed situation. Figure out, be honest with yourself. Okay, look at it hard nuts, that what is the cash you will need. Okay, make an honest assessment. What are the sources for cash? The sources for cash are quite straightforward. They are within your grasp, but very often we don't see them because we are married to our own ways of working. The first source of cash is from within the organization, and this is the best source of cash. Your debtors, your inventories, a lot of them ourselves manage ourselves in such a way that we pile up huge inventories, we still have stockouts, and so on and so forth. And third is fixed asset. What fixed asset do you have? You will say fixed asset market is down. I can't sell it, right? In January the price was 100, and now it is selling for only 70. So what? Do you need the 70? You don't need the 70. Without the 70, you're gone. With the 70, you live. So please, discount whatever you need to. Don't discount if you don't need to. You don't have to discount. But discount, even if you have to do, create that cash pool. In the previous, I did not come to this first. I said first assess how much cash you need, and then create the cash pool. And then if you still can't do it, we will help you to do it. We can help you to do it, how to do your inventories, debtors, fixed assets. But first your assessment, how much you need. And if you can't, then the last option is to borrow. The government is opening some borrowing taps, but you'll have to one day repay that. Don't forget, you'll have to pay interest. Or if you are in a position to raise equity, well, you'll have to pay even higher returns to the investors in equity. So just think. Okay, so this is about this. This requires a lot of detailed working. Each organization, each business situation is different. Two organizations in the same sector. Do you think Indigo and SpiceJet and Go Air and Air India are all in the fourth situation? It's the same market. It's the same business. But the starting positions are different. Their cash position different. Their procedures are different. Their flight numbers are different. Everything is different. So you have this to do this for your own organization is a detailed exercise. You can do it, or we can help you do it. Once you've created the cash pool, what do you do with that cash pool? Let's see. I'm going to go into a quick definition and then tell you what to do with the cash pool. You know, any business is essentially a process of converting money to more money. You have some money. We saw it in the Excels, which I showed earlier. You have some money. From that, you buy some materials, you process, you sell, and then finally you collect and get money in the bank, right? So this cycle from buying of the materials, I'm talking for manufacturing company, the same thing will be in a service company, whether you are a hospital or an insurance company. Okay, you spend money to get some things, and at the end you sell and then you collect. This, from the first expense till the last thing, is called the cash to cash cycle. I'll just call it cash to cash cycle, hold it, and we will come to it. Now I'm going to show you a company, 3 companies with a cash to cash cycle of 90 days, 60 days, and 30 days. Let's say I started with 300 units. Same company, 50 rupees materials, 50 rupees OE. So in the first month, I produced 100 and sold 100. Money available next month is 200 because 100 I gave as credit. Next month, I had 200 and so on and so forth. Now you see the company after 3 months come into the stable company situation, which I showed you earlier. Then if 1 month 10 rupees is gone, you are sunk, right? But look at this figure here, that the total sales they have achieved is 500. Now look at if this credit period of 90 days was 60 days. Then what happens? The money inflow naturally is faster. You can buy more materials, you can sell more. Right now we are assuming you don't have that bigger capacity constraint, so you're doing that. And now you have been able to, with the same money of 300, have a sales of 750 in 5 months. Now, if your credit period was 30 days, right, then you will be able to have a sales of 1500 in 5 months. So can you see that 500 to 750 to 150 depends on how much money is stuck in the system. I made it simplifies for credit, but add your credit and inventories both, and this is where you will reach. So the name of the game, the second gear in this engine, first was creating the cash pool. Now, if you created the cash pool, but you couldn't rotate it fast, you will very fast go back to the original situation. You'll put all the money into debtors and inventories, and you still will be stuck. Yes, Sandeep, you say customers don't pay on time. I'll address that in 2-3 minutes. Let me give you a simple funds rotation. This is a typical accounting type definition, but they have more complicated ones. I'm giving the simplest one with only 2 things in it: inventories and receivables. So this is your rotation of your most liquid current assets, inventories and receivables. So number of rotations per year, if you had a sale of 100 per year and your inventories were 10 and your receivables were 10, we would say you have a 5 times rotation during the year. That means you can, with the same 20, you do 5 times and earn profit 5 times on that. From the equation, it is quite clear that the rotations can be increased either by increasing the sales or reducing the number of days of inventories and receivables that you have. Now, I'll give you a couple more definitions. This is going to sound a little technical to you, but it is not. It is the heart of your business, how to rotate money. If you say my cash to cash cycle is N, that is, you remember from the time I spent the first money till I went to the last, I define cash velocity, okay, which is the compounded. What I said, you rotate 5 times. You invest the money, you earn the money, you invest the money, you earn the money, and you rotate it. This is a equation here that is there. This is your cash velocity. It's an index, is equal to your sales divided by your variable cost, which I had told you, the purely variable cost, to the power of 1 minus the number of weeks. Let's say your cash to cash cycle is in N weeks, in 8 weeks or 12 weeks. That figure will be N or 8 or 12 minus 1. So you will get the cash velocity. Okay. Yes, Mr. Akhilesh is saying that cash does not impact business in a linear way, but in a compounded way. That is exactly what this equation is to show you. So when you're taking a business decision, okay, I'll give you an example and then I'll come to the thing. Let's say you have 2 products. One is selling at 100 rupees, one is selling at 80 rupees. The purely variable cost of the first one is 50 rupees, the second is 50 rupees. The manufacturing lead time for both of them is 2 weeks. The credit period in weeks for the first customer is 4 weeks, in the second customer is 1 week. So the total cash to cash time in case of P is 6, and in term of Q is 3. Now, very often we sell product, "Arey boss, the margin is very high in this. Let's go." Yes, welcome Mr. Rao from Ghana. Mr. Rao, CMA Rao from Ghana has joined. International Advisory Board member ISMA. Welcome, Mr. Rao. So the cash to cash time is 6 and 3. Now, when you calculate it in the equation, you will find that the cash velocity of P is 12%, while the cash velocity of Q is 17%. So if you want to rotate your cash fast and make money and grow, you have to sell more of Q than more of P, because P is going to block your cash and Q is going to keep giving you cash. Okay. What to do? Whatever orders you have, whatever businesses you have, whatever product lines you have, use cash velocity to rank them in order. And then try to sell the ones as much as you can with the highest cash velocity. Then go to the ones with the next cash velocity. Go downwards, and you will find remarkable results. You will find remarkable. Many of your cash problems will start vanishing. Then the thing is to continuously work to improve your cash to cash cycle, inventories and debtors, both. let me give you a flavor on inventories. Okay, we'll go through this a little faster so that we can more or less finish in my allotted time of 5:30 or 5:45. Inventories. First question I want to ask everybody is, why do we keep inventories in the first place? Anybody? Why do we keep inventories in the first place? Why do we have inventories in our companies? You are a manufacturing company. Why do you have inventories? Please answer. Why do you have inventories? Guys, if only you hear me speaking, it doesn't give me the energy. I want your energy here. Why do you keep inventories? Yes, to ensure that we are able to serve customers, so that we serve the customer. But to serve the customer, you don't need inventories. Why do you need inventories? To take care of buffer time, to service orders. Yes, but why are you not able to service orders without inventories? Why do you need inventories to service orders? I can produce, ship the next day, customer pays me next day, everything is done. Yes, Mr. Akhilesh is saying, because we don't know what the customer will ask for and when. You have uncertainty. Managing the supply chain, managing uncertainty. Okay, you are not sure when the order will come. You have in the same production, sometimes the same product gets produced in 4 days, sometimes it takes 6 days. You have uncertainty in production. Your supplier, sometimes he supplies in 3 days, sometimes he supplies you in 5 days, or 3 weeks and 5 weeks. So you have uncertainty in the supplier, in your own production or in your own operations, and then in your own sales and collections, and in your orders. This is why we keep inventories as a buffer. Somebody had said earlier, I think Mr. Mittal had said that as a buffer, we keep this as a buffer against the uncertainty. Okay. But the big question is, which is where most of us go wrong, what products to hold and how much to hold. This is a problem. How do you do it? What is your current process? Okay, let me say. And when we are trying to decide how much to hold, whatever to hold, we also have another problem, what we call a business conflict. Read this chart from the right. To earn more money, I must, the word is must, not should, I must reduce loss of sales due to stockouts. To earn more money, I must not block my cash in inventories. So to reduce loss of sale due to cash outs, I must have high inventories. To not block cash, I must have low inventories. This is a conflict in our mind when we are deciding. There's always a conflict when we are deciding. So sometimes we overstock, sometimes we understock and lose sales, and we go yo-yo. We never seem to get it right how to do the right stocks. And why? The current reality is in most companies, the reason is this. I'm giving you the reason why this happens. Okay. First, we make a sales forecast. Boss, next month we are going to sell so much. Or this customer is going to give this so much orders. If you are a larger company, you'll ask your sales force every month, they'll make a sales forecast. Then we produce to meet that forecast. You know, whether you are a small company or a Tata Steel, whatever, giant, it is pretty much the same. But then what happens? Actual sales differ widely. All of you know that if I was to ask you, how much of which product are you going to sell tomorrow? You will have no answer. You cannot give me an accurate answer. I'm willing to take any bet with you that if you can tell me that what exactly you will sell tomorrow. You can't. And then we make a sales forecast for the whole month and plan production on that. And then inventory go haywire. And then we say, oh boss, we got so much of inventory, our cash is lost. This is not the way. This is not the way. And then what happens when the FG accumulates? We say, boss, we have to get it out. We have to get the cash. Let's give discounts. Let's give discounts. And then I stuff my distribution channel. I give some incentive scheme. If you buy so much, I'll reduce the price so much. And now the distributors also stuffed. I was stuffed with inventories. Now I've stuffed my distributors also with the inventories. This is not the right way. This is why we have high inventories. The reason is that we are thinking that there is certainty in orders, there's certainty in production, there's certainty in supplies, which it is not. So why don't we build a system which is based on uncertainty rather than based on certainty? So what we recommend to change to, and in a moment I'll show you a couple of results from this, is to implement a pull-based replenishment system where Your orders pull the production, and the production pulls the purchasing. And we don't do forecasting, right? We do a replenishment system. Whatever is pulled is replenished. Look at this chart. Okay, this is a result. These are number of SKUs. This company had 110 items. And this applies, by the way, we have applied it to, for example, I talked to you about a hand tool company. They had 6,000 items. It doesn't matter whether it's 6,000 or 100. I'm just showing you a graph. The blues represent overstock. The green and yellow represent stock which is in the right range. Red represent danger zone. You can get stocked out anytime. And black is actual stock out. You have no stocks of those items. Now, can you see that this company in week 19, which is like end of April of that year, started with 42 overstock, 37 in the right range, 23 understock, and 8 stocked out of 110. And very rapidly, look at week 31 here. We have 13. So week 31 means 12 weeks, 13 weeks. In 3 months, we have the overstocks reduced. The right stock went up to 85 from 37. The danger zone came down to 7, and the stock outs were practically eliminated. So this is what happens. Now you will say, for this, did I have to increase my inventories? No, this is the same thing by value. When we started, the value was 109 units or 109 lakhs, let us say, or 109 crores, doesn't matter, right? And then in week 31, we came down to 86 crores. So we corrected our inventory and also saved in the process 25% of the money. This is what we are talking of having. This is the way you reduce inventories. Let's come to receivables. Receivables are a combination of how much credit you give and how timely you collect. Okay, everybody got that? What you need to think is how you can reduce or eliminate credit. Yes, I'm asking you to reduce or eliminate credit. Whenever we are running a business, the first thing, if you ask a business owner, boss, can you reduce credit? Oh, how can I reduce credit? I will not get any orders. I will not do this. I will not do this. The customer will demand credit, etc., 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 etc. The fact is, we got used to giving more, arranging money and giving more credit as our competitive edge. We don't have any competitive edge. So we give a lower price and higher credit. Very often, we say we cannot do business without giving credit. But what we are actually saying is that we don't know how to do business without giving credit. In the next section, I will tell you what we should be doing, what we can possibly do. This is not going to stop overnight. Yeah, today you are giving 90 days credit. Tomorrow you say to customers, I'm not giving any credit. Say, go jump in a lake, right? But over a period of time, over 6 months, over 8 months, over 9 months, you can develop strengths. You can learn how to sell by lower credit. Lower credit means your receivables will go down. Plus efficiency factors, which is not the scope of the discussion here. You are pretty good at it. We can further help you improve on that. Step 4 is a growing rapidly store. Now, when will you grow rapidly? Anybody? Can you give me a feedback? What will it take to make you grow rapidly? You know, profit growth transformation, PGT. What will make you grow rapidly? What do you think we did in those companies which I talked to you about in my career as a young startup entrepreneur, as a CEO, as a management consultant for our clients? What could we do? Now, need resources? Yeah. Resources, yes, you can create the resources, but all those resources will go down the drain. It will not. I promise you, if your company has a turnover, say, of 50 crores, and I came and give you 20 crores, you will not be able to double your business. If your working capital is 20 crores and give you another 20 crores, never. Customer satisfaction, faster cash rotation. Okay. Yes. All of these things. Let me give you a slightly different perspective, which will look at you slightly differently. Okay. Utilize cash efficiently. Yes, we are all going cash, because I've been speaking cash. Now, widen your horizon to go. We've already said, create the cash pool, rotate the cash, but now let's widen our horizon. Okay. And some people are giving the right answer. I'll come to that. It is to build capabilities. What capabilities? Let me share with you. Let me share with you quick 4 slides. You know, I said depends on your approach. You are the main person. Depends on what you think is important. Now, this is what about that. Companies are run in 4 orientations. First orientation is product concept. Mobile companies, we are familiar. We say, boss, I have this product, I'll add this feature, I'll do this, I'll do that. IT companies, I mean, you are Excel and so have so many features which you didn't even hear of, right? You really need those? I don't know. So tech companies typically love features. Mobile phones, IT companies, cars. Oh, I have that little Viper thing. I have that little, boss, car is to get from one place. Yes, it's a feel good. But they do all this. Second is selling concept. Boss, we cannot do this unless we sell, hard sell, hard sell, hard sell, hard sell. Encyclopedias, training courses, seminars. Unless you hard sell, nobody's going to come, right? So this is typically where people are sitting pretty and they don't think of it. And then somebody comes and badgers them, boss, let's do this. Let's do this. Third is, this is the most common. All of you, I guarantee 99 out of 100 participants here will be in this thing. Production concept. Okay. As Mr. Ford said more than 100 years back, you can have any model as long as it is a Model T. Why? Because it was the most efficient way to produce. Yes, have first mover advantage. Alok Agarwal is saying, yes, we'll talk about all that. Here, the assumption is that the customers prefer those products which are cheap, widely, easily available, and therefore we will go for making it most efficiently, distributing it most efficiently. That's fine. You need to do that. But what is your belief that if we do this, the customers will come? Well, it's not enough. You heard that the person who made the better mousetrap doesn't get all the customers. The best who is in the business does not get all the customers. You have to do something more than that, right? And pricing also in pricing also in this is markup pricing. Oh, it costs so much. I need so much profit, etc. So this is the price. This is the most common. 99% of goods are sold this way. The recommended company orientation, which most high performing companies do, which all PGT companies do. And that is what, where was that? When one gentleman had said, customer. We all say customer is king, but what does it mean? Does it mean anything to us? Customer is king means we have to believe. We talked of the belief of the founder that my customer experience is the key to my commercial success. It's not how well I produce. It's not how well I do other things. It's the customer experience. The strategy in this is to find the right products to your customer. You start with customer, you start with the consumer behavior, and then you say, oh, this is what I can supply. We have to supply the customer's express as well as latent need. I'll give you an example. It says Dell computers. You know, when people used to earlier buy, when Dell started, when people used to buy computers, they were either go and get what was available on the shelf, which was never matched with what you wanted, right? This GB and that GB, all that would not match. Or you had to buy, in those days, there used to be self-make kits. So you had to buy a kit and be a little techie and have to fool around with your hands and make computers. And then came Dell. It says, boss, you go onto my website, or you fill, earlier it was order form, then it became website. You fill in what is you need. And in some days, okay, you will have that. I don't know what it is like in America. In those days, it used to be. But I remember almost 10, 12 years back in Mumbai, I was in Mumbai. I went to the Dell site. I placed an order for my computer. This order reached Dell. The computer was manufactured in Malaysia. It was shipped from Malaysia. It was cleared through the customs, and it reached my house, delivered on my doorstep in, I think, 12 days, maybe 10 days at my doorstep. Now, that is addressing my need. I got exactly the computer I wanted. They didn't make necessarily a better computer than anybody else, but they addressed my need. That's why I give orders to Dell. Even today, all my computers are Dell. So what is marketing? The biggest management guru whom I salute all the time. He's a management visionary. I'm not sure, he must have passed away. He was active in 50s, 60s, 70s. I have not seen anything written which is gone beyond something he's written in those times. So the aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well that the product or service fits him and sells itself. Ideally, the marketing should result in a customer who's ready to buy. Think like this. It's not happening overnight, but think like this. I urge all business owners, promoters, I urge all professionals. How are you different from the other professional? I'm a CA. Next one is a CA. How am I different from the other guy? Right? Think like this. What customer's pain point can I solve? And then people say, oh, if marketing is going to get the customers, what will sales do? Well, marketing doesn't need, let me also say, does not mean a department. It means a marketing way of thinking. If you are proprietorship concerned with a small factory and doing, it doesn't mean you have to have that thinking. Put on your marketing hat and think what you need to do. The job of sales is to support and the customer. The customer has walked into your door. Now you support. Now you figure out it's not easy. You know, you walk into a store to buy a pair of trousers or a shirt or a skirt or whatever you like to buy. How easy is it for that guy? You've come there to buy already, but that guy has to still sell to you. That guy or that lady in the shop has to still sell to you. So sales is another world altogether. But unless we have the marketing thinking right, we can put any amount of sales effort. We can keep throwing sales people. Our sales will not pick up. Okay. In most companies, already most companies do not think this marketing way, and that's why they don't have the PGT. So we can skip this. Okay, quickly. Now, what is good marketing? When will the customers, suppliers be ready to buy? Because he has a perception of value that if I buy this is what I'm going to get. You know, I'm going to get a holiday, or I'm going to get a peaceful holiday, or I'm going to get a computer ready-made to my design, or what, right? Supplier's perception of value is, oh, it costs so much to deliver, etc., etc. I need so much profit, and then therefore this is the value. Now, very often these two are in conflict. That's why we have to give discount. If this is not in conflict, we don't have to give discount. All those big turnaround stories I told you, it was not because we gave discount. We charged the highest in the market. And trust me, in all the cases, we were charging the highest, but we got the most business also along with that. So you have to focus on the consumer behavior. What is it that they really want? Okay, it has to do with their need. It doesn't have anything. They don't care what it costs you. It doesn't. You go to the market, they say, oh, pant pe discount chala 30%, great. You don't care whether it costs them, 90 rupees or 80 rupees or 70 rupees, whether they're making a profit. It's good for you, you buy it. So similarly, marketing has a conflict. Customers' perception of value, if you act upon it, you will get lots of sales. If you act upon to earn more money, you have to generate sufficient sales and sufficient product margin. Go from the left, right to the right. You must generate, but for sufficient sale, you have to go by customer perception of value. You have to go by supplier perception of value. Why this is broken is that it is not necessary that customer's perception of value will make you bankrupt. It will give you tremendous profits. You got to figure out how. So the immediate goal of marketing is to increase the customer perception of value to become equal to or more than the supplier's perception. The long-term goal of marketing is to increase it so much that it is higher than all the other competitors in the market. That's when you dominate the market. That's when you become whatever. You become a Gillette. Nobody else can sell in front of them. Everybody gets wiped out. So in your own market, in those markets which I described to you with those PGTs, in those are micro markets, we were the dominant players. Everybody wanted to do business with us and not with the other guys. The starting point, I'll just give you a tip. I normally don't give tips because everything is individual, but the only tip I can give you is to look at the pain points of customers. Talk to your customers. Talk to your sales force. Observe in the marketplace. What are people worried about? Let me tell you that I attend all these startup seminars. Most of the big startups, a Zomato, okay, a Naukri.com, they all started by their founders. They told their stories there. They started by those people observing. Zomato started by, that guy started by trying to get orders for people who didn't want to eat the canteen food in his office canteen. Similarly, various stories of Nokia. I don't want to talk about other companies, but you will hear such stories when you go to the startup conference. How did they start? So customers' pain point, observe and see. Now I'll close this portion with the marketing process. Choose what needs to serve and who's needs to serve. This is what we are talking. Who's the target customer? What's the pain points in the market? Get to understand the customer and the problem. Then you create a positioning and a value proposition. This is subject of a seminar by itself, so we are not going to take it up here. We can take it up in another forum. Then you design the solutions, this classic 4 P's of marketing: products, prices, distribution, availability, and promotion. Then find the target customers and communicate. You have to communicate with your customers. If you don't communicate with your customers, you're not going anywhere. Earn profits through the above. If you do all this, get customers and don't earn profits, then you're going to go bankrupt. So ultimately you earn profits. One thing only I'll say, there is a science in this, which I've been trying to tell you about. There's also a massive art in this. You have to be able to consciously be alert, and one day it'll click in your mind what is to be done. We can help you, but it's a lot of effort, and it clicks at one point. And when the right thing clicks, you know you got it and you go with it. So we described the first 4 steps. It starts with you and the belief. It starts with creating the cash pool. It starts with rotating, then it goes on to rotating that cash pool fast so that you can do your business fast. And then when you are seeing the growth momentum, you will have to find new ways of convincing the customer. You will need to deliver something which customers value. For that, you will have to build capabilities. When we go to the examples at the end of the PGT, you will see how those companies built value. So I come to the step 5. Oops, wrong number. Okay. Implement, implement, implement. You see those 3 boxes? Implement the cash pool, implement the cash transfer, implement the build capabilities. Unless you do that, nothing will happen. Or all your practical businessmen, you know, ideas in the head remain in the head unless you act. And just like if you're putting in your car normal petrol or you put 97 octane, there's a, you know, it makes your car a lot of good things. So you have to be bold, be quick, and be firm. If you keep on dithering, acha abhi soch rahe kar rahe, well, by the time you finish thinking, you may not have a business anyway. Okay. Now, results from running the PGT engine. Let me show you some results. I'll show you from all the 3 phases of my life. I'll take one example from this phase, but just see, because it gives you a flavor. IT services startup in the 80s. Our business model was to develop applications for corporates and run them on outsourced basis on the company's computers. Okay. The key investments were in computer hardware. You know, we used to take an application, then develop software, then actually run. Nobody paid us for the software. They only paid us for the results which we produce. So we process a payroll or a bank account or something. Key costs were people and interest loans located in a state capital. We were the pioneers in the city. We were the number 1. But with that pioneer, okay, what was happening is nobody knew computers. So some large companies wanted inventory and payroll, and they paid you a pittance for that. Nothing. It could not meet any cost. And then on top of it, a couple of new competitors came into this new field. Like any new field, people come in. But their new computers were 1/3 the cost. And they had 3 times the speed of processing. So we had a huge cost disadvantage. Huge. So we decided to build a capability. What did we do? We went to those customers, not the inventory and payroll guys. You won't believe we didn't do a single inventory or payroll. We went to customers for whom this was a strategic service. I'll just describe to you one quickly. The Dairy Federation, there's somebody saying to raise the volume of the speaker. I don't know how to do that. Okay, I'll speak a bit louder. We went to the Dairy Federation, and it's on some auto sound mode. And the Dairy Federation in UP, yes, other people are saying they can hear fine. So Dairy Federation in UP, they had 8 dairies. 8 dairies, dairy means a milk processing plant. And they would send out trucks every morning, evening to gather the milk. And then at the end of 4 times a month, at the end of 7 or 8 days, they would process this, make a bill, a purchase bill, that I got so much milk from you of this quality, so I'm paying you so much money. Now, these people got a lot of funds under Operation Flood to expand. But the question was, the problem was that nobody was willing to give them enough milk, because in the Sarkari system, people would not pay the people on time. They'd make them run the society adhyaks. They would make them run around pillar to post and so on and so forth. So that's where we came. For them, it was critical to get those funds. For the MD, it was critical to scale up from 8 dairies to 20 dairies, from 700-800 villages to 3,000 villages or 5,000, 6,000 villages in a short period of time. So then we implemented a solution which was built around computing. We did the computing, we built the software, but we did everything. Every 24/7, Holy Diwali it used to run. Okay. So, and when we did this, it was immensely profitable. We made 70, 80, 90% profit. If you took only the computing portion of it, we made 70, 80, 90% profit on that. Not small amounts, massive amounts. Result was, doing this and many other such customers, the result was we became the largest and most profitable player. We were at least 3, 4, 5 times larger than our next guy. And there was no competition for such accounts. They were locked in with us. Even after 5 years, we were doing absolutely fine. Let me go to the next one. CEO. Oops, the slides are a little bit going haywire. Auto component manufacturer, typical auto component. JV with a specialized technology from Europe, from the world leader. 90% of our sales were to OEMs, but mainly for scooters and motorcycles. So Bajaj Auto and various other TVS and so on and so forth. In these OEMs, we had a market share of 20%. Okay, OEM was the bigger part of the business, as against 60% for a very large company, which was much bigger than that, so 5-6 times our size. Our company had made losses throughout its 10-year history. Even we were sick under BIFR. Raw materials and consumers were only 25% of sales, but we had a negative EBITDA. Okay, our employee cost, whatever, our EBITDA was negative. The OEMs in automotive give you fixed business share by and large. So like Bajaj Auto gave us share of 27%, right? To another very small company, they gave 10%, 63% to the big competitor. And the big competitor was the darling of Bajaj Auto. We built a capability. You see, in the automotive industry, what happens is that some part falls short. A scooter at that time used to, let's say, have 1,000 parts. If some part falls short, there's no scooter. And the purchase guys would get rammed every day in the meeting, and they would have to get on emergency calls. This was before mobile phones. They would get on emergency calls trying to hustle the suppliers, and the suppliers would make them run around, and they would get shafted from their management. So the capability we built was, if we got a phone call, we said, boss, within 24 hours, we will tell you when we will deliver, whether it's 2 days, 5 days, 10 days, etc. And don't forget, this plant was in Ranchi, and all our customers bulk of them were in the western region, right? Very difficult. Trucks used to take forever. Trains were not reliable. These were small consignments. But with this, the result was we increased our OEM market share from 20% to 35% in 2 years. This is market share, and the market also grew. So we almost more than doubled our sales in 2 years in OEM. And I've not told you the story in the replacement market, where we tripled our sales in 3 years. In 2 years. The company turned around, it grew, it expanded. I showed you earlier that we went to 16% profit on sales, right? and competition was very busy. ठीक है, हमारा तो बड़ा company है, ठीक चल रहा है. It took them 5 years to realize what was going on. Now let me come to a client. Okay, hand tool supplier to domestic OEMs, domestic trade and exports. Large range. See, these hand tool suppliers, they have a large range of product. They'll supply 5, 6, 7,000, 8,000 SKUs. They make only 5, 600 of those. The rest are purchased within India and imported from China. The business force, earlier I had told you about the whole company. Now I'm telling you about one division of that company. The domestic distribution sales, which was be selling all over India. Their sales in the last 5 years had been exactly same. 15 crores, 15 crores, 15 crores, 15 crores, and 15 crores. No change, same. While we went into it, we realized there was huge problem of incomplete and fulfillment of orders. Okay. Some products were supplied with delays. Like if your guy comes, from say Karnataka and he says, boss, I need this list of products. You supply him 70, 80% of the items and the rest you say, we'll send it to you sometime. Now look at the guy in Karnataka, what happens to him? When the retailer comes to him with a list, he sold him on this brand, right? He sold on this Vinay Agarwal brand. And then Vinay Agarwal brand, he said, I want Vinay brand of products. And he says, oh, I have these, but the others I'll have to give you some other brand. Boss, this customer will either go away somewhere or stop believing in the Vinay brand. It doesn't work. And inside the company, what was happening was salespeople were getting shafted. We were having a problem of deliveries and we were having the salespeople shafted and they were changing and they were etc. So we eliminated these shortages through a replenishment system in the purchase and in the plant doing on time and full deliveries. So we could get the product whenever we wanted. The order came, product was there. It took us 6 months to do this, just 6 months. Even though it was imported from China's import took 7, 8 months, local internal supplies took 5, 6 months. And what was the result? The sales increased by 70% in the first year. So the 15 crores went to 27 crores in the first year. And next year was all set to go to 40 crores. So that's the PGT. Okay. Now, I want to hear from you. I've given you the PGT engine. I've given you the PGT examples of 3 companies, how they zoom, how they put a rocket under their sales. Let's hear from you. Did you get some value from this? Guys, did you get some value from this? Yes, yes, yes. Give me energy. Yes. This is what I've earned today. Your appreciation. Did you get value? Thank you, Nikhilesh. Thank you, Raja. Thank you, Anupam. Anupam says fabulous. Thank you very much. You got it? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Can you now? You got it, but can you share your biggest takeaway? Take 30 to 60 seconds. I'll pause. You've heard my voice for a long time. Share your biggest takeaway from today's masterclass. What was your biggest takeaway? Share 2 if you like. Share your takeaway. Sandeep says cash cycle. Yes, cash cycle. Build capabilities. Yes, yes. Cash rotation. Customer is the king. Yes, Lalit. Marketing concept. Rastogi. Yes, Mahendra Rastogi. Yes, understood that transformation can be done in a short time as well. Yes, it doesn't take ages. It doesn't take 10 years. 10 years it takes to build a great company. But 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, 3 months to turn around. We promise in our consulting, we'll help you triple your sales in 3 years and we'll help you double your profits only in 1 year. You can do it very quickly. Understanding customer requirements and pain, cash cycle concept. Yes, Umesh. Thank you, Umesh. Okay, guys. So all of you seem to have, yes, changing our mindset gives a big impact. Yes, cash velocity concept. Yes, yes, yes. Keep it rolling. Anything else? Okay, we have a lot of good feedback. I think people have got the basic concept. I'm very happy to know that everybody got the basic concept. Let me just move on and towards a conclusion. Do you want such PGT results in your company? Now that you've seen what kind of results are possible, do you want them? Do you want to come out? Do you want to come out with flying colors in March? Being in those 70% of companies which revive, and being in that 20% which zoom, which have got a rocket on their sales. Come on, Atul. Atul says yes. Yes, yes. Only Atul wants it. Come on, guys. Who wants it? Yes, yes, yes. Certainly, Anupam says yes. Sandeep, yes. What is the main reason why some? Okay, no. We are not discussing right now. We're taking feedback. Today it's not a question answer session. When we have some opportunity for question answer, maybe we can do that. But let me just first move towards the conclusion. Yes, Gopal says yes. Okay, thank you, Samir, thank you, Sami, thank you. Two choices. Okay, now you want to do it. You have two choices. You have two choices. You remember, one is go ahead, make your solutions, conquer every roadblock, and do it. Just do it. The second choice is what Mr. Jain outlined in his starter. Mr. Pankaj Jain outlined when he started. If you think you need help, seek help. Have me by your side. Make sure you're doing things right. Basically, blast through the roadblocks. Choice is yours. Do it yourself is a very good choice. Having me by your side is an even better choice. So choose what you want to do.